Snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the king. The wind is howling like this swirling storm inside. I couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I've tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good guy you always have to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, let it go. Tidal waves slam the door. I don't care what they're going to say.
Hello. This is my build guide for my Chronomancer build. I unironically think this is the best Chronomancer build out there for late game. It's good at mapping, it's good at bosses, it's very good at bosses actually. The base foundation for this build is based on Ruse's video. I'll link his YouTube channel. But I highly modified it to use Spark as the core ability for the cast on crit setup. That way it eliminates the clunkiness with Ice Wall and Frost Nova, because you often get stuck on ice walls, which feels very bad for mapping. Spark does have a low base crit rate, so you do need to invest more into crit chance for it to actually feel good. 40% crit chance is the base minimum. 45% chance it starts to feel good. 50% chance is optimal. As for the skill tree, crit chance and the big crit clusters on the right side of the skill tree. There's also another crit cluster all the way up here, and crit damage clusters to the left. There's also a crit cluster right here in the middle. While yes, we are using Comet for our big damaging ability, it's still better to take lightning damage since we're using Archmage. As you can see, a big chunk of our damage comes from lightning damage. This build does use a weapon swap setup, mainly used for bossing. The goal for the weapon swap is to maximize time freeze duration. As you can see, I have 9 seconds, and to maximize the curse effect modifier. We are using conductivity because again, we're using Archmage, so most of our damage comes from lightning. And of course, we're also using temporal chains to further extend time freeze duration. So the main nodes to get for weapon set 2 is skill effect duration and increased effect of your curses. We'll also get Whispers of Doom, so we can apply an additional curse and more increased effect of curses. As for our defensive layers, we're mainly relying on Eldritch Battery and Mind Over Matter, and we don't have any energy shields. So this build does require some knowledge of the Chronomancy skill set, so you can actually survive in maps. As for the gear, for your wand, you need maximum mana, spell damage, and increased critical hit chance for spells. Having increased mana regeneration would also be nice. For your focus, same thing. Spell damage, maximum mana, crit chance, and mana regeneration rate. For your rings, maximum mana, cast speed, and mana regen. And for your amulet, maximum mana, at least 50 spirit, and increased mana regen. For your gloves, just get crit damage and mana. For boots, movement speed and mana. For your belt, mana. For your chest piece, it needs to be an expert cat raiment with 50 spirit. And for the helmet, just mana and crit chance. This one doesn't have crit chance, but I already have enough, so it doesn't really matter. As for your weapon swap, just get a low level scepter and the Crest of Ardura Crest Shield for the cooldown recovery rate. As for the gems, just have last gasp when you're a skeletal warrior so they don't get killed by the boss instantly. For your temporal rift, have ingenuity for improved cooldown recovery rate. If you don't have enough damage, you will actually have to use temporal rift multiple times when fighting against bosses to reset your mana. So having faster cooldown is actually a must. For time freeze, just have persistence, but having unbreakable and wind wave would be nice. As for Archmage, clarity, and lightning mastery. For your frost wall, we have icicle, magnified effect, spell cascade, and cold exposure. For spark, considered casting, arcane tempo, pierce, acceleration, and arcane surge. Don't run considered casting if you don't have enough cast speed. For cast on critical, we have comet, spell echo, elemental focus, inspiration, and concentrated effect. We're just maximizing the raw damage of comet. We're not really trying to apply freeze. because by that point, the boss is usually already dead. Orb of Storms is a flex slot. You can put Firewall with Fire Mastery and Fortress for more projectile speed. But for now, I'm using Orb of Storms for Font of Mana and Font of Blood, mainly just for utility. Having Lightning Exposure and Conduction is also nice. Soul Offering is used against bosses. So we take Ablation, Dance Macabre, and Minion Mastery. Blink is used for your weapon set too. That way we have some mobility. As for conductivity, we're using Heightened Curse, Ritualistic Curse, and Focus Curse. For temporal chains, we're using Cursed Ground, Expanse, and Encumbrance. As for the boss combo, we use temporal chains into conductivity, time freeze, soul offering, ice wall into spark. Temporal rift to reset your mana. I also have a max roll guide for this build if you want to look into it yourself. That's pretty much it. See you.